You give it a name, for example, like this. You select the software. You will have access to all the software that you have the right to use. So, for example, I have an Autodoc demo pre-created here, which I will use. You also see here, depending on what you selected, there is some pre-selection, and you see this would cost me money. You know, this depends on what I selected here. When I select now something different, you would see that these things change depending on what I select. So I selected the Autodoc demo software. I want to run an Autodoc executable job. There's also AutoGrid available. Autodoc is a protein ligand docking software. Then I don't want to run on Amazon, which would cost me money, which you see here. I want to run on my own resource, which doesn't cost me anything. And you see, you always get the display live of what is estimated for the first hour. Then I think for this small demo, I can use a very tiny resource. Here you see a selection of different machine sizes. I would get the same or a different one when for example, I could use also Amazon. Then I get the corresponding Amazon resources where this is available. But let's switch back to OpenStack. Now I have to, since I always cannot remember this, I will open a new job window and look at one of my previous jobs to get the argument string which you need for running this. Basically, you would run this application as you would do on the command line, so you can use the same command line parameters that you are used to. The same you can do through the API or the command line interface that is available, which then really starts to feel like you run something locally, although you run it in the cloud. So I'll put this in here. This defines just some parameters, and basically this is an input file and this is an output file that is generated. So the logs will be saved here. There are some expert options which I won't go into detail. For example, you can have kind of pipeline jobs or things like this. You can tag jobs, but I will just save this. This will warn me again. Currently, this will cost me nothing. And now I have my first job saved. Of course, what is missing yet is the corresponding data. So what I now do is I add a data file to this job. And I can do this with many data files. But for this one, I will take advantage of one of the features of the platform. So this is an input file. And it actually, as you see, it was a tar.gz file. So it's an archive. So when I'm lazy, as I am now, I don't want to upload all the files. I just pack my inputs and just upload one and define it's an archive. Okay, so now as you see, I've actually defined elsewhere the storage where this will be saved. And you will see here, when you look carefully, you will see that it will be directly uploaded to Amazon. And now it really depends on the network how fast this will be. Okay, there we go. Now the file has been uploaded to the cloud. Since I'm not using storage from OpenStack because that's currently not available at the Beefy resource, I've chosen, I can show you where, that this is uploaded to Amazon storage, but that's relatively cheap and it's running on my own Amazon account. Okay, so now the job is finished. I go back to the job. And what I can do now is I submit it. So there's this typical submit button. So I press submit. I'm again warned. This time, I'm using my own resources, so it's costing me nothing. But if I would use, for example, an Amazon machine, it would then say me, this costs you so and so much per hour. Okay? There we go. And now you see, there is now an instance starting for me. And I can actually look into the corresponding OpenStack resource. And you see, there is now a server starting. And now, of course, I have to wait until this has been started. job will run through different states. For this, it's easiest to look at the oval job window. So currently assembling means it's starting machines, then we will go into starting state where it copies the files from the cloud storage, and it will all be running automatically. So basically I could now log out and go home or go on vacation and then check later if my job has been finished. Let's just let this run. We can look at the finished job, which I ran before. You see here, this one is completed successfully. So what you see here, I not only have the input data, but I have also many output data here that are generated. You also see that the machine that belongs to that has been halted in the meantime without me interfering. It was automatically shut down because no new work was submitted that needed the same resource. So the system automatically shuts down the machines as long as I have not say I want to keep this open. So now, of course, I want my data back. So what I do now is I just download all the files. Yes, I'm really sure. So what it will do now is will download all the, as you see here, you will download all the corresponding outputs from cloud storage back on my local machine. And when I look carefully, you see here the just downloaded files. So I defined before that I want my, you see the partial files still. I hope it's done now, it looks like. So this is my main output file. So I can look at it and see, hooray, my Autodoc job has been computed. And of course, all these numbers mean something for the corresponding scientist. And now, without having anything on my local computer except of a web browser and the corresponding inputs, I can run scientific computations. And I can not only run this on a single machine, as I've just shown, I can also run MPI jobs for the corresponding applications or things like this. And if I'm not interested in web browsers at all, I can also do the same thing from an API or from the command line. The public platform is basically open to anyone after registration. So you register, and then we have to manually enable each user, just because there are some rules for using the platform. But after that, basically everybody who's willing to use it is very welcome. You just find it on a platform.cloudbroker.com. And also, as said, when you put a zero price on your resource, or when you just use it internally and don't set a price to it, you can, with the current pricing scheme at least, you can use the platform for free. When you want to use external resources, like for example resources offered by CloudBroker, there is a surcharge for using those. But otherwise, everybody is very welcome, and we are of course also very happy about any feedback that you might have.